Welcome to Roaming with Restless Women, real talk with wise, dynamic women leaders. I'm your host, Julie Noonan, CEO and founder of Intuitive Wisdom Coaching, and I'm living my dream life. I live and work in my RV, coaching senior women leaders as they navigate corporate politics, family drama, and personal goals to live their own dream lives. These women are restless. They are never done seeking new opportunities, learning, and creating value in the world. If you'd like to apply to be on the show, stick around to the end and I'll let you know how. Let's go. Welcome back to Roaming with Restless Women. Today, I have a really exciting guest, Ann Carden. Ann is a strategic business growth consultant and the CEO of Akademi. She's the founder of Expert in You, as you can see on her screen behind her. That's her brand and influence marketing and media agency. She's a 3 times author and #1 international bestseller, speaker, podcast host, and a magazine publisher. All of that, all at the same time. It's crazy. Ann has over 4 decades of business, marketing, and sales experience. She spent 13 years in corporate business, managing multi-million-dollar departments for a multi-million-dollar national retail corporation. She's been an entrepreneur now for 30 years, founding and selling 5 previous businesses. Working as a consultant and coach since 2010, Ann has helped hundreds of coaches, consultants, and service businesses in 70 industries add millions of dollars to their businesses. She's educated thousands of entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals through her training, speaking, workshops, seminars, and social media channels. She was recently inducted into Who's Who in America for Entrepreneurship and as well into Who's Who in America for Professional Women. Finally, she's been featured on various media channels with published articles and syndicated podcasts. Welcome, Ann. I appreciate you're joining us on our podcast today.
Thank you, Julie. So much fun to be here with you. And wow, that was just too long of a bio. We're going to shorten that.
Okay. Well, I liked it anyway. It was pretty spectacular as far as I'm concerned. So let's begin with your actually deciding to become an entrepreneur. Your bio mentions being in a multi-million-dollar business and doing all these things. And it sounded like, to me, when I read it, kind of at the top of your career game. So what enticed you to become an entrepreneur?
It's called children.
Yeah.
So I was in corporate. I was in retail management, and of course, retail, they're not fun hours, and they were not very gracious when I started having my kids. And it just was always so stressful if one of the kids got sick. And so that was with my son. And then when I had my daughter, I thought, this is just not my life, the life that I want. And I don't want my kids raised by a babysitter. We didn't really have like big daycares back then. So I don't really want them raised by someone else. I want to be a mom, and I wanted to be a mom so bad. And I thought, so to go to work and not get to see them just didn't make sense to me. So we were living in California at the time, and we made a move back to the Midwest so we could be closer to family where we were from. And we knew that also it would give us the opportunity to be for me to be a stay-at-home mom. But we moved outside in the country, outside of a small town, and my husband was driving back and forth to the city. And long story short, he just didn't make enough. And we fell into really financial hardship. So I started looking for ways to make money. That was the start.
Ways to make money and still be able to be a mom. I love it.
That's right.
There are so many people. I mean, I think that's one of our age-old problems since probably the early 80s, maybe even before that, with women having to make those decisions, and families having to make those decisions. So the pendulum has swung back and forth since, but
Yes. Yeah, it's changed a bit. Well, now we have the internet and we have all these different ways that we can coach them. There's so many ways to make money. Back then, there were not a lot of opportunities.
Oh, there
Uh,
was what, Mary Kay, Avon.
well, I started a craft business. So
Uh-huh.
crafts was kind of exploding. This was in 91. So
Yep.
crafts were really exploding across the country. And I've always been fairly crafty but I didn't know anything about really building a craft business. And that wasn't my intention. There was a little store and I thought, oh, I can make a few things and take them in there and it's consignment. So she can sell them. But after 3 weeks, so I made these, I don't even want to talk about it, but I made these things and I took them in there. And after 3 weeks, nothing had sold. And I finally said to her, what is selling? And she said, these rabbit dolls. And for anybody that is around my age, they'll understand what that means. And I thought, a rabbit doll. I have no clue how to make a rabbit doll, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I did. I went to the local store. I went to Walmart and I looked at a lot of patterns and I looked at other crafting things, and I came up with my own design and put together some rabbit dolls. Borrowed my mom's sewing machine. I didn't even own a sewing machine, and put together these rabbit dolls and took them in. And she said, "Oh my gosh, these won't sell." Long story short, I did that business for 7 years. It went global. I was in stores all across the country. They were international.
Wow.
I had signed dolls. I had a whole line of they were all designer, and I would have people that waited for my next set of dolls to come out. And I was running a manufacturing company out of my home. They even ended up on the cover of an international magazine. Now, you couldn't buy the cover, they had to choose you out of thousands of crafters. And so two of my dolls ended up on the cover. That was kind of a cool milestone.
That's
But
amazing.
yeah, but we didn't, I had to advertise in international magazines the old fashioned way, print, very costly, very expensive, and I was renting spaces in stores all across the country and craft stores. And so it was a great business. I was making a six-figure income way back 34 years ago, I guess. So it was a great business, but I was able to help other moms. They were
Uh-huh.
coming in and out of my house. They were stuffing doll parts. They were cutting parts for me. I just had this whole manufacturing company going on, but I still got to be a mom. I still got to go do the room mom things and be there for my kids. And yeah, so that was the start of it.
There's so much determination in women uh, when they
Mm-hmm.
want to do something. And like you said, I was crafty, but I didn't know what, the rabbit doll was. I'm going to find out. And
Yeah,
I
I'm going to
hear
do
that.
it.
Exactly. I
Yes.
hear that from women all, and they're still doing it.
Yeah.
They're
And I
still
think
doing
if
it.
you're
I
not
love it.
ever afraid, I could have, that could have just shut me down, her saying, nobody wants the stuff that you did here.
Right.
That could have really just shut me down and,
Mhm.
discouraged me. Like, this is just not, I don't know what to do. Oh, I don't have a sewing machine. Oh, I mean, I could have come up with a million
Oh, yeah.
excuses,
Yeah.
but it was really the turning point, and what made me do it to begin with was my 4 year old. My kids were getting a lot of hand me downs from cousins,
Uh-huh.
and which was a godsend. But my 4 year old son needed shoes, and I didn't have two dimes to rub together. I mean, to be in that place in your life, it was just so heart wrenching for me. And I just remember I'm a woman of faith. So I sat
Yes.
down and I really cried and prayed. And I just asked for God to give me some ideas or a solution. And that was I had a box of junk that was in my basement that was worth about $15. And that's where I first, okay, well, maybe you can make some things with this. But yeah, if I wouldn't have jumped in and done it
Mhm.
and tried it and kept pushing through, I mean, I did it for 7 years. It became a full blown business. And
Yes.
that, even though it's embarrassing to say what the business was, because people are like,
No,
what?
absolutely not. Are you
I'm
kidding?
still really proud of what I accomplished. And I eventually did the pattern industry, or the pattern market. And I was able to sell all my designs when I decided to get out and exit and go into my next thing. So if I wouldn't have done that, if I wouldn't have started, I don't think I would be on the journey in my seventh business. Um, so
Yes.
yeah, you just have to do it.
Well, tell me about your other businesses. Tell me about your journey to get
Yeah.
to where you are now.
So after I decided to get out of that business, I had gained a lot of weight. It was a really sedentary business, sitting at a sewing machine and making
I
nails
imagine.
and all
Yeah.
of that. And I had never really been out of shape in my whole life. And so that was something that didn't set well with me. And I thought, okay, well, I don't really know, even though I wasn't really into fitness and all of that, I'd always been in sports and, through my, as a kid, and always very active. And so I thought, well, I don't know what to do here for my next thing, but I know I need to take care of myself because I really kind of hit a place where I was a little bit depressed. Like I just didn't know what my next thing was going to be. And we were still living in the country and there still wasn't a lot of opportunity. So I thought, well, I can take care of myself and I can get in better shape. And so I had to order personal training books and these huge binders that were this thick that came to my
Oh,
house, and the
yeah.
nutrition books. And I started learning all about it. And any tapes or videos or anything I could buy. And I just fell in love with fitness. I got in the best shape of my life at 36 years old. And I remember I went to a back to school barbecue. I found a community hall that said they would let me teach classes, fitness classes. Went to back to school barbecue, handed out flyers, made up some kind of handmade flyers because I didn't have a computer back then. We didn't have those yet in
Right.
our
I
home.
remember
Yeah, the old days.
the old
And I
days.
said, hey, I'm going to do some fitness classes, some aerobic classes. That's what they were. It was back
Yep.
then. And I said, would you like to come and take this with me? I'm going to teach it at, this hall. And mom said yes. And well, long story short, that was 2 health clubs, 2 weight loss centers later, sold all of those and stepped into the coaching and consulting space about
Mhm.
15 years ago. I've been helping people build their businesses. And then I have the Expert in You agency media side of my business, which is we're now expanding on that for this new year. So yeah, it's been a crazy ride.
Well, tell me more about Expert in You and your agency business.
Yeah, so I really have 2 sides. So I have my Expert in You programs, and you were mentioning women that maybe are coming from corporate or maybe they've been pushed out. They are perfect people for me because I help them take their expertise, their brilliance, their skills, their knowledge, and literally show them how they can build $1 million business around that or even beyond.
Hmm.
And that's really where my brand came from. And then off of that, so I still do the coaching and the consulting, and I have
Hmm.
the $1 million accelerator program. And then we have with the agency side, we can do things like we can write their book for them, we can get them published in the media, we can expand their influence if they want to start a podcast. I have a team that can do the back end services. So
Hmm.
all the things that can really help them with the marketing side of things. And if they want to speak on stages, I have a team that can book them on stages. So all the pieces that I was already helping my clients tell them that they need, I thought instead of sending them to someone else, let me start building a team to offer those services to them. And so out of that sort of came this whole other business and this whole other agency.
Wow.
Yeah. But here's the crazy thing. I don't really do much with that side except bring in the business. I have a team of people, different people that do all the different elements, and they're all experts at what they do.
Right.
And yeah, so
Well,
that's it.
well, to me, that is the number one thing is know what you're great at.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a great idea, somebody out there can probably implement that great idea, as long as you are leveraging their skills. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for instance, I started this podcast, let's see, back in August, and it quickly became overwhelming to me. So I engaged my daughter and my son-in-law who
Mm-hmm.
does video editing and that sort of thing. And I said, "Hey, do you guys
Mm-hmm.
want to come and help me out here?" And it makes it so much more fun because this is the part that I like. This is the
Yes.
part of the whole process that I like. I don't necessarily like doing the marketing. I definitely don't like doing the editing. And so they took over those
Mm-hmm.
pieces and it's made it so much easier for sure.
Yeah. And
Um,
you can't really build a business by yourself anyway. And
no,
it's important for people to know that if you're going to get very far, you need to do the things that you're strong at doing. I love getting out and speaking and training and teaching. I love the coaching side. I love coaching clients. That is
yes,
so near and dear to my heart. I love helping them
mhm,
figure out their business model, their revenue model, their packaging. All of that just lights me up. So I
right.
let people do all the other stuff. I mean, I have an assistant. I could not live. Actually, I have two assistants that literally I could not live without. When I got on here with you, I said, yeah, my assistant booked this. I just show up. That is
Right,
the best
right.
kind of business. But it also gives me the freedom that I want at this point in my life and my business. And so to be able to have success in your business and not live it is, and get to do the fun stuff. Not to say everything in business is fun. It's
Mhm.
not. There's always things you have to do that aren't fun, but you don't have to be immersed in those things. And that's the important thing to know.
This episode is sponsored by me. So, as a special gift to you, our listeners, I offer a free one-on-one 15-minute breakthrough session. Bring a problem and experience how coaching works to see if it could be of value to you. Sign up for an available time on my website, intuitivewisdomcoach.com. That's exactly right. And you make your own rules. You make your own calendar. You make
Yeah.
your own schedule. You can decide to work at midnight or not, and it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
As long as you're pleasing those clients and delivering them what you promise, is perfect. And so,
That's right.
tell me,
That's exactly right.
one of the things that I hear a lot from entrepreneurs or women who want to start their own businesses is, yeah, I would really love to have an assistant. I would really love to leverage someone else's skills. But where's that tipping point, the where I make enough money to be able to afford that? Because I know
Mhm.
most everyone starts out like you did when you were describing the rabbit dolls. You made them all yourself and shipped them out, or
Mhm.
whatever you did. Eventually it was too much for one person, and eventually you just talked about,
Mhm.
I brought in others and they helped me do these pieces, and I was running a manufacturing organization all of a sudden.
Yeah.
When people ask you where that point is, where is that tipping point, what do you say back to them? Because that's a word of wisdom in my mind.
Yeah. So one of the things that I help people do is, especially women that are experts or they have a skill set, is you literally, because I help them get really premium high end clients. I didn't really say that, but that is the whole premises of my business. I help them get really premium clients. All
Mm-hmm.
you need is one and you're off to the races. So, but here's what you have to realize. If you're going to get into business, I think we're in a very different world from way back when I was. So if you're coming from a corporate job, you've probably got some kind of money. Realize that the faster you'll invest into not being the only person doing things, or investing in a coach that can guide you and give you the right steps so you're not wasting
Right.
time and money, can get you results so much faster.
Mm-hmm.
Because the to me the slowest path is trying to figure it out. And back
Yes.
then, back when I was, you're a coach, when I was trying to build businesses, business coaches were not a thing, which is
No.
where my heart and my passion comes from. If I would have known, if I would have had somebody that could have guided me or given me the fast track or the speed, the shortcut, jump me to the front of the line, I would have found the money. And so
Yeah.
I think one of the things is it's not waiting until. That's a
Right.
big mistake people make. They wait until. The thing is, it takes them forever to get out of the gate because they don't know what they're doing and they're trying to figure it out. So
Yes.
to me, that's the horse and buggy way. If you want the
Yeah.
jet plane to speed your success and you want to get out of the gate faster and start making money faster, then find the money that you need to get some help, to get the help
Yes.
that you need. So a lot of people go into business. I've never built a business that's been free, but I've built a lot of them. And the fastest I've ever built businesses is when I took out a loan and I expanded and I did what I needed to do and I found the money. And or I can remember even in my health club, I wanted to bring in spin bikes, and they were new at that time. They were just
Oh,
spinning was just coming to the scene, but they were expensive. It was a huge investment. And so I put together a program and I made my people pay for it. It's like, this is the cost of the program. This
Mhm.
is what you're buying. And they paid for those classes. And I took everybody's money and I said, if I don't get enough to make this a run, you'll get your money back. And so
Yeah.
I took in people's money. I didn't take their word for it that, oh yeah, we want that, right? And
Yeah.
then I went out and paid. But I had them invest the money, and then
Mhm.
I had the money to go buy the spin bikes, and then that continued to make me money for years. So you can get creative and you can get innovative and do things like that, but find
Yeah.
the money. There's always ways to find the money.
Right.
But just know that building a business will take money. And so if you think about it like, I don't have the money, you'll probably never have the money. That's just the reality.
Yes, I think a lot of
Not
what
what
I
people want to hear.
no, I think that's exactly the wise words that I was hoping you were going to say, because that's what I think is missing in a lot of the fluff
Yes.
that is on the internet right now about, oh, build your business, it'll take a month and you'll have a
Yeah, your
six-figure
dream business,
income.
just create a course. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, heavens
Create a
no.
course for $47, and then, and 4 years later, you've only made $47. I went down that path. I
Oh
That's
yeah.
where my whole brand came from. Yeah, there's a lot of there. I'm not saying that advice didn't maybe work way back when with, the whole .com thing, but those strategies take a lot of traffic, a lot of money, a lot of energy, a lot of time. They are not the secret sauce that people think
No,
they are.
no.
And how much, what are you going to be able to do with $47? Or even if you sell 10 of them, big deal. And 10, think about that. You have to go out and sell 10. That's
Right,
only $470. You're not going to get real rich. But if you
right.
can take your expertise and you can go out and find someone who can use that skill set, even if it's doing something for a client, and then sort of working your way out of being a done for you provider, even if you do that, you
Hmm.
can make so much more money right out of the gate. I mean, you could close a six-figure deal right out of the gate if
Oh
you
yeah.
wanted to.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
easily, easily. Okay, so we're getting close to our time. We have, I think, 15 more minutes left. So what I wanted to do with this time is talk to you about, in general, how do you feel about women's position currently in the corporate world, or owning their business world? Where do you think we really are?
I think the corporate sector is better than it used to be, but I think there still is a long way to go, to be
Yeah.
honest. But I think the opportunity for women has never been like it is now. I
Oh yeah.
mean, the opportunities are unlimited. And look, if I could do this 34 years ago and have success, women certainly can do it today with all the things that we have access to, the tools, the resources, the people. There's women are going to rule this world. You just watch.
Well,
I
and
think
like,
we already halfway do.
well, I
Yeah.
think we have been just
Yeah. No, we
unacknowledged.
absolutely. Yeah. If you
Yeah.
look at business and entrepreneurship, there's so much of that they're women owned businesses, and women are driven and they're strong. Women are strong and they can do a lot of things. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we just have a resilience about us and a strength and a power about us that it is just, yeah, it's different.
Yeah, and I believe too that right now we're starting to actually believe it. I think that's the difference, is that we were perhaps brought up in a culture or in a time
Mm-hmm.
where that that belief in our own selves as strong individuals, independent
Mm-hmm.
of anybody except for maybe our girlfriends,
Yeah. Yeah.
we if you're brought up in that, you eventually you start to believe it.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think we're starting to say, no, 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 no. I think we started to say this maybe in the 70s, but I think COVID was a good Band-Aid ripoff, if you will. It forced a lot of change. It
It
forced a
did.
lot of dialogue. It forced a lot of us to come to our strength and own it, when maybe it would have taken a lot longer had that not happened. Because who kept the world together?
Yeah.
It was the
No.
it was the women at home,
Yeah.
because our poor husbands or partners, were going crazy trying to figure out how to exist in a space that was
Mhm.
however big your house or apartment was.
Yeah.
And we don't even probably think about that. We just make it work.
Yeah. Well, if you think about, I guess I didn't really realize this, but I had seen someone post one day that women weren't even allowed to have credit cards until like 1975 or 77. I
Right.
didn't even realize that. I mean, I was in high school at that time, but I had no idea about that. That's just, oh my gosh, that's mind blowing to me.
Right.
Um, but but here's the thing. This is just sort of my feeling about it. You can
Hmm.
you can tell me what you think, Julie. We are responsible for that change, and we
Absolutely.
are exposed to more than we've ever been exposed to. So to me, those are excuses if people are still making them.
Hmm.
And yes, there you have to, yes, you have to get tough, but you also have to know, hey, if this person's doing it, I can do it. If this
Yep.
person if I'm watching these people do it, I can do it too. So it really doesn't matter what your past beliefs are. The opportunities are there for anyone that wants them. But you have to be the kind of person that says, I can do this,
Yeah.
and go and do it. Just go and do it. Who cares how you grew up? Who cares what your beliefs were? It doesn't matter. None of those things in the past matter. It's
Hmm.
what are we doing with it right now? And what do you have available to you right now? And how are you utilizing that and making things better for yourself now? So yeah, it's a mindset shift,
It
but it's
is.
a choice. In my opinion, it's a choice because we're not living in a box anymore. We're not in a vacuum, right? And we know what the opportunities are. And so you can get
Hmm.
stuck in the past and how we grew up and how we believed and what was fed to us. Or you can say, it's not that way anymore. I'm not gonna do that anymore and step into something
Exactly.
bigger.
One of the things that I use as an example is, in the 70s and 80s, we our examples of women in corporate America, or when they bumping up against the glass ceiling or whatever, when we looked at that, how they acted and how they portrayed those women in in media, TV
Mm-hmm.
shows like Murphy Brown and those things, we admired that. But
Mm-hmm.
if we had stopped ourselves and looked at it, they were playing by the boys' rules. So
Mm-hmm.
they were having to be tough. They were wearing the suits.
Right.
They were, and that was the way that they felt at that time, that they needed to play the game.
Mm-hmm. Well, things have to evolve, right?
Things have to evolve. And I think we
Mm-hmm.
did that to ourselves then. We were playing by their game. And now I think, part of owning the power that we have now is saying, I don't have to be
Mm-hmm.
playing the way that the guys naturally play. That's not authentically who I am.
Right. And
I'm going to be compassionate but tough. I'm
yeah,
going to make my own choices. I'm not going to live by someone else's judgments.
yes,
And I'm going to support other women, because
yeah.
we were, how we guys compete with each other.
Mm-hmm.
We should be supporting each other and collaborating with
Yes.
each other. And I think that's another good thing that has come out of COVID and the newer generations too. They would much rather collaborate than compete.
Yeah.
And I love
Yes.
that. I
Yeah.
love
I mean,
that.
just look at we're on this podcast together, right? And
Yeah.
I think women typically have more empathy as well. And I think that that's been a great thing in the corporate space, in the business space. But here's the other side of it. you still have to be strong and tough, but you don't have to
Totally.
be hard to get along with. There's a
Or a
difference.
BIT.
I
No.
wasn't going to say that, but that was what
Yeah.
I meant,
Yeah.
because to me that gives that solidifies what people have always thought of
Mhm.
strong women. And that isn't who we need. That's not who we want to be.
No.
But you can be empathetic, you can be strong, and you can be well respected and admired and stand your ground without. The main thing is not being run over, but you don't have to be hard to get along with to be that
No.
person.
No.
And so, and here's the bottom line, Julie. If you are in that kind of an environment, you're in the wrong environment. Go find a better place.
Right.
We have
That's
we
exactly
have that
right.
choice too, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and for a while, I think we're redefining what we consider to be acceptable. And I think it's benefiting all of us. It's
Yes.
benefiting all,
Yeah.
not just other women, but it's also benefiting organizations and men and any other people who may be there. I think
Yeah.
it
I think
really
that's where
it
all the
helps.
leadership development is coming from, right? Men are seeing that they
Yes.
have to be better leaders and they have to be more empathetic and they have to care more about their teams and they have to get their teams on board and
Mm-hmm.
influence. And it's not the iron fist anymore that it's been sort of the mantra in corporate and even in the business space. But
Absolutely.
there's always going to be bad apples in everything, right?
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure. So, I have three questions that I ask at the end of every episode.
okay.
And the first one is if you could close your eyes just for a moment, literally.
Oh, you want me to close them? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I always love it because I always catch people by surprise. Um,
I
and,
mean,
and I would like for you to describe what appears in your head when I say wise woman and open your eyes and describe her to me.
I think a wise woman is someone who really understands what's going on around, knows how to um, knows how to navigate all of that, and knows how to pour into others what
Mm,
the wisdom that she has.
yes, I love that. Where do you like to roam, Anne?
Where do I like to roam besides online?
Yeah, I like that answer too.
So I think I was sharing with you. We have my grandkids and my son and daughter-in-law are in Texas, so we roam to Texas quite a bit. Excuse me one second. You are my third show today, by the way,
Oh, goodness.
back to back. So I apologize.
No
So
problem.
we're always, getting together with them, whether traveling in Texas or we meet them halfway. My daughter's about 3.5 hours from us, so we're that way. My husband and I love to travel. We're getting ready to go to Jamaica. We did this last year and we're going back this year. And then I do retreats as part of my program every year. And so I pick a spot. Last year I went to Phoenix and I pick a location where I go and do those retreats with clients. And so just, yeah, for me, it's family. We also have properties in different places. We have a lake home and we have a farm. And so those things keep me roaming. I feel
Yes.
sometimes we're gone. We feel like sometimes we are never home, like we're gone more than we are home. So, yeah, all of those things.
Perfect. And the final question for you today is what makes you restless, but in a good way?
Mm. Well, I'm not one to sit still. And as you heard me say earlier, oh, we're building up this agency side this year. I launched my magazine last year, and so we're building that up. I'm working on my fourth book. I get restless if I'm sitting, if I'm not creating, if I'm not
Hmm.
doing sort of big things, if I'm not having conversations like this, that makes me restless. Yeah.
I'm right there with you on that one.
Yeah.
I love to learn and create. And if I'm not
Yes.
getting enough of that in my life, I know
Yeah.
that I need to cut out something that I'm not enjoying as much.
Absolutely. We have to do what empowers us. And for me, I love having conversations like this. My podcast is one of my most fun things that I do in my business, and speaking and training and doing virtual events. And I love that. So if I'm not doing those things, it's like, oh, it's, I have to get this in.
Got to
So
charge our batteries. That's for sure.
that's right. That's right.
Well, and please tell our audience how to best contact you.
Yes, you can. First of all, you can find me anywhere on social. So just you can Google me. But if you like anything I've talked about, or you want some help in your business, you can book a call with me at acarden.com. But what I would love for you to do is go grab my magazine. It's beautiful. It has inspiring stories and amazing people in it. You can go to expertinyoumagazine.com and grab that. We just released 2 issues, and the stories are just fantastic. I don't know if you can see back here, but Dave Sanderson, he was the last guy off the plane when it went down in the Hudson. And so did a whole article on him, and did an article on a mountaineer who was a world-class record holder. And so go grab the magazine. It's really well done. And yeah, that would be great.
I also have here that you have a masterclass called Supercharge Your Business.
Okay, I'm going to actually give you a different one. I run virtual events all the time to help people grow and build their business. And I have one actually coming up. It's expertinyourworkshop.com. And it's the same link all the time. So whatever I have coming up for a virtual workshop, you'll be able to see what the current one is. So this link will be relevant no matter what time you post this or you put this podcast out. I'm always running virtual events to help people with different things. It might be marketing, it might be sales, it might be creating your $1 million offer, whatever. So you can check that out.
That's perfect. I will make sure that gets in the notes. And thank you all.
Thank you very much
for watching, and thank you for joining. And we will see you on the next Roaming with Restless Women podcast. Thanks, Ann.
Thank you.
Julie Noonan here. Thank you so much for listening to Roaming with Restless Women. If you're a successful senior woman leader who would like to be on this program, please visit podcast.intuitivewisdomcoach.com. If you enjoyed this interview, please share this episode on social media and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Your thumbs ups and reviews go a long way.